Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Jimmy Nichols. I'm an equine nutritionist with Bluebonnet Feeds. And today I'd like to share with you some information about a brand new feed that we have introduced into our Equilene line called Equilene Pro Care. Equilene Pro Care is a beet pulp based feed. We've chosen to go with a beet pulp based feed for this product because beet pulp is considered a fermentable fiber, which is really beneficial to the horse because it adds a lot of really safe calories back into the diet. So fermentable fibers are used by the microbes in the gut to produce volatile fatty acids. And this is what the horse uses for energy, essentially. Beet pulp is really unique because it can provide as many calories as oats, yet it's a safer, lower starch way to do so. Beet pulp is also really unique because it has a natural prebiotic activity, and it also naturally stimulates the production of butyric acid by the microbiome in the gut. And butyric acid is really beneficial because it helps support the health and growth of important intestinal cells that line the digestive tract. And when those intestinal cells are healthy and happy, we have an immune system that is very robust and effective. Now, I had mentioned that beet pulp is a low starch way to provide calories. To put that into perspective, I wanted to compare Equilene Pro Care at 13.5% non-structural carbohydrate to some other common feed ingredients. Rice bran contains an NSC level of 21.2, oats are at 54.1, and corn averages about 73.3% non-structural carbohydrates. And for those who are unfamiliar, NSC, or non-structural carbohydrates, is starch plus the water-soluble sugar content. So as you can see, Equilene Pro Care is a very low starch feed. It is a very safe feed for horses really of any age and any class. This feed was really designed for horses under stress. So the first category of that type of a horse is, of course, your performance horses. These horses are training, they are traveling, they are under stress from performance, they are under stress from being loaded into a trailer and being hauled. I think it's interesting to point out that when university researchers try to elicit stress within a horse, the model that they use is to simply load them into a horse trailer and haul them around. Okay, so that simple act, which we take for granted, is actually really stressful to a horse. So this feed was designed with ingredients and technologies that will help the horse cope with those travel stresses. It also contains technologies that help build a robust and active immune system, so we can help reduce some of the immune stress within that horse. And in addition, this feed, the Equilene Pro Care, contains ingredients which help lower that low-grade systemic inflammation that can occur simply from the stresses of performance, travel, and training. This feed is also really good for senior horses. So there's a new word out there called inflammaging. And inflammaging is basically a chronic low-grade inflammation that develops with advanced age. And this happens both in horses and in humans. And what we're understanding now is that inflammation can actually accelerate the process of aging, which can then in turn worsen many of the age-related diseases that horses or humans are facing. So when you feed Equilene Pro Care, you can rest assured that you're getting technologies and ingredients that are going to go in there and help battle some of that inflammation and help prevent the advancement of these inflammaging type diseases. The other thing that's important to remember for senior horses is that as they age, their ability to digest and absorb nutrition decreases. So this feed is really designed, again, to help support the intestinal health and help improve that digestive function. So this is an excellent option for those horses who really need that extra kick from their nutrition program to make sure that their digestive system is functioning at an optimal level. So the first goal with this feed was, number one, reduce chronic inflammation. So I mentioned in both of the slides before about how chronic low-grade inflammation can really start to degrade the body and have a long-lasting effect on the horse. There are technologies that are included in this feed that have been research proven to reduce inflammation post-exercise, to reduce cortisol post-exercise, to reduce joint inflammation, and improve cartilage rebuilding in joints. So all four of those things have been research proven by university researchers, and the particular ingredient that was researched is included in Equilene Pro Care at the researched level. Now, I want to point out that cortisol is a stress hormone, and I mentioned that cortisol is reduced after exercise in horses that receive the specific amount of this technology. So what a benefit to the horse if we can not only reduce the cortisol, reduce that stress hormone, we're able to reduce the total body inflammation, which can lead to other diseases. We're also able to support joint health because we're reducing the inflammation that builds in the joints that's naturally occurring. And we're also able to help improve the rebuilding and the restructure of the cartilage in those joints after an assault. The second goal was to make sure that we were providing technologies that could help build a really strong intestinal lining. Okay, the intestinal lining of the horse is the horse's very first defense against toxins, pathogens, disease, really anything that the horse might come into contact with orally and consume. Now, horses can actually develop a syndrome called leaky gut syndrome, much like other livestock animals, much like humans. What happens in leaky gut syndrome is the cells that line the digestive tract start to separate. What is happening is you have these little areas between the cells called tight junctions. And those tight junctions keep these cells held together tightly. It keeps pathogens, toxins, etc., from passing down into the bloodstream. Now, in the case of leaky gut, what happens is these cells start to separate. The tight junctions begin to fail. When those tight junctions fail, you get gaps between the cells that line the digestive tract. When you have gaps between the cells, toxins, pathogens, etc., can then start to pass into the body, which then can cause a hyperimmune response. It creates inflammation, and it creates a cascade of problems that we certainly don't want to deal with in our horse. Many times when you have leaky gut, you can start to see major decreases in performance. You can start to see a chronic loose stool or diarrhea. Those horses are going to be more susceptible to things like EPM, okay? Because as you may know, when horses contract EPM, it's because they have eaten something that contains the protozoa. And the protozoa, if the horse has leaky gut, if these cells are separated, it creates essentially an open door for that protozoa to enter the body and enter the system. Same thing for allergies. I see a lot of horses present with food allergies, and they may go get an allergy panel done, and the allergy panel comes back, and there are literally 15 or 20, maybe even 30 different items that this horse is showing a low-grade positive response to. Now, what could be happening in that situation, if it's not an extreme response, okay, if it's a low-grade response, that horse may actually be dealing with a weakened cell barrier of the digestive tract, okay? They may be dealing with something like leaky gut syndrome. Those allergens are being allowed into the body, and the body is hyperreacting or overreacting to those allergens, and then causing those low positive responses on an allergy panel. So again, we know that horses can deal with all of these problems. So if we can put technologies into a feed that have been proven through research to support and strengthen the cells that line the digestive tract, we can take that first step towards preventing some of these conditions. A third technology or approach that we wanted to put into this product was to make an effort to support the gastric portion, okay? So we have talked about the intestinal lining itself. We have talked about how the microbiome needs to be supported, the live bugs, but we haven't talked about the stomach itself, the gastric portion of the horse. And so what we did is we used a seaweed-derived calcium, which acts as a natural buffer to the stomach acid. Now, the unique thing about seaweed-derived calcium is it actually has a honeycomb structure it is a plant-sourced calcium rather than a rock-sourced calcium. Okay, and this unique honeycomb structure provides a more efficient gastric buffering capacity. So it helps lower the pH of the stomach acid and helps prevent the possibility of ulcers developing when this product is fed on a daily basis. The other thing that's really unique about this calcium is it's very bioavailable, and so it helps support normal bone remodeling, which is constantly going on for performance horses, for adult horses, but more importantly, really even for growing horses. The bone is constantly remodeling, and you want to make sure that you're providing adequate calcium that can go in and provide the strength to make a strong, healthy bone. Now, let's move on to some technologies that we've actually included into this feed that are from the Stride Animal Health line of products. The first is an ingredient called plasma. Plasma you may be familiar with as it is the main ingredient in the product called Lifeline Plus Equine. Now, plasma is highly effective. It is very researched. There are over 500 published peer-reviewed studies on the benefits that plasma has within the body. Equilene Pro Care contains plasma at a 25% maintenance dose of Lifeline Plus. Plasma is really effective at supporting the immune system. It is highly effective at supporting the gut health, the gut lining, as I had mentioned before, pulling cells together and supporting those tight junctions so that we don't end up with leaky gut syndrome. Plasma is effective at reducing inflammation within the body, supporting reproductive health, and supporting normal lung health. Organic complex trace minerals, as found in Stride's 101 Diet Balancer. These specific complex trace minerals, so specifically copper, zinc, methionine, and cobalt, are also very highly researched. Over 250 published peer-reviewed studies supporting the benefits of these particular organic minerals in the animal's body. So a few things that they have found in the equine research. Gastric ulcer prevention. These particular minerals are super important for hoof strength and improving that coat quality. Everybody wants that super shiny, dappled, beautiful, glossy coat, and these trace minerals can help support that. These particular trace minerals, these organic minerals, are also important in the immune system. So zinc is highly effective at immune health and supporting the immune system. These minerals were also shown that horses were actually less stressed by heat and humidity when they were fed this particular form of organic trace mineral. And lastly, horses that were on this mineral had a more efficient repair of their joints. So doubling back to what I had mentioned earlier about the specific ingredients helping with reducing inflammation within the joint, this particular form of trace minerals can also help in that joint. So we have layers of different ingredients that are really all aimed at the same particular goals. Butyric acid, I mentioned this just briefly at the beginning of the presentation. Butyric acid is one of the major ingredients in the product from Stride called GI Calm. So butyric acid, the particular form that we use actually links butyric acid with a specific zinc together in an encapsulated form that can be delivered along the entire digestive tract. Butyric acid has been shown to strengthen the lining of the gut. So again, back to one of those major goals, we're trying to build up that gut defense. Okay, butyric acid has also been shown through research to help pull together those all-important tight junctions that I had mentioned that are so important in keeping those cells linked together within the digestive tract. And butyric acid has been used in many situations clinically to help cases of leaky gut syndrome. So as we start to wrap this up, I want to point out that Equilene Pro Care, if you take a mature performance horse around 1,100 pounds, if they are in moderate exercise and they are eating 16 pounds per day of a normal quality grass hay, feeding 6 pounds of Equilene Pro Care does satisfy all of the energy, protein, macro, and micro mineral, along with vitamin requirements that have been set forth by the National Research Council. So not only meet, but in some situations exceed. The only thing that would be recommended to put on top of Equilene Pro Care would be just normal salt. And you can use just, you can use stock salt, you can use normal table salt. That would be the only thing that you would need to put on top of this feed in order to supply the normal vitamin, mineral, nutrition requirements. March 2020 is early bird access time for Equilene Pro Care. So call your Bluebonnet Feeds dealer, ask them to please get in Equilene Pro Care. Right now, it will be released in the blue bag, so the Bluebonnet generic blue bag. So don't be alarmed if it doesn't come in the actual gold Equilene Pro Care bag yet. We are in the soft launch or the early access phase, so it will be coming in the blue Bluebonnet bag. And we're excited to get this out there. We're excited for everyone to try it. We really believe that this is going to be a benefit in the equine industry. You know, I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this today. If you have questions, feel free to visit the Bluebonnet Feeds website. Feel free to reach out to your Bluebonnet Feeds dealer. Feel free to reach out to the Bluebonnet Feeds Facebook or Instagram pages. We have people on staff who are ready and eager to answer any kind of nutrition questions that you might have. So again, thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you all down the road.